What do you do when your relationships fall into shambles? Stay tuned. Hi, welcome. My name is Erica Angelo. I'm the CEO and founder of the Erica Angelo Intimacy Experience. This video that I'm about to share with you is very intimate, and I know that it's going to impact your life. As I do this interview with my very best friend, we're going to share our journey of how we met and how our relationship really went through some rough times and how we were able to overcome it and to really paint a clear picture. What does vulnerability look like? What happens when we get in isolation, when we feel all alone? And shame, how do we come out of shame? I know you're gonna find yourself in our story, so make sure that you watch it all the way to the end. I know it's a long one, but hang with us because I know that this is gonna help you and it's gonna change and help mold your life. Well, hello and welcome. I am so excited about this particular video that I'm going to share with you because I have one of the most important people in my life on this call with me. This is my best friend in the whole world. She's been my best friend. How long have we been best friends now? It's been a long time.
Probably 15 years. Has it been longer?
Yeah, because I went to Camdyn's birthday when she was like, what, 2?
Okay, so then it has to be 15 years.
15 years, okay. This is my best friend of 15 years. Her name is Ginger, and she lives in Texas. And I am just so thrilled to be able to have this conversation with you. Thank you.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
This will be fun.
It is going to be a lot of fun, and we both have our coffee, and we'll explain to the people later like why coffee is so important in this conversation. But I just wanted to start off by saying, you know, I was sharing with you how I'm getting bored with my YouTube videos of just sitting there and telling people what to do about their relationships, but like, what does this look like in day-to-day relationships? Like, how are the things that I'm sharing, like, how does this stuff play out in everyday life in relationships? And I remember when I was in Bible college, for those of you who don't know, I went to Bible college when I was very young in Texas. And I remember this man, his name was Tommy Birchfield, and he said this thing. He said that more is caught than taught. And I really believe that. I think that by hearing people's stories and their day-to-day interactions, I personally believe that we learn more through that than someone just teaching us.
Absolutely.
So we are going to share with you guys about our relationship and the ups and the downs and the highs and the lows and the good times and the crying times. And we hope that by sharing about our relationship, that somewhere in our story that you find yourself and it speaks to you. So I guess we should give everyone some history about how we met each other. And it's kind of funny and kind of corny, but I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to tell or do you want me to tell?
Well, I can tell my part, I guess.
Tell your
okay. Part. I just remember you being a part of our church at the time, and I have a very close relationship with my mom. She knows me well, and she knew you well at the time. Y'all became very close friends, and she told me one day over the phone after my husband and I got married, she said, Ginger, I have been spending time with Erica. She's as sweet as she can be. She is outgoing and funny, and I think that you and Erica would make the best of friends. Y'all have to somehow meet. I have to get y'all together. Y'all have to meet no matter what, because I think you would get along perfectly. And did she tell you the same thing?
She told me something like this.
Okay. So I literally just called you up one day. Wasn't it me calling you?
I think so.
I just called you up one day and I said, Erica, this is Ginger. I know this sounds crazy, but my mom told me that she's been hanging out with you and adores you, and she thinks that our personalities would mesh and we would get along great. And I just want to get to know you. I need a friend, and I don't have anybody right now that I'm super close to, and I just want to get to know you. And you were so open and like, I need a friend too. That sounds wonderful. Yes. And then started our friend dating relationship.
Yes. I remember you asking me lots of questions. I felt like we were on a date. You're like, well, what do you like to do about this? And what's your favorite color? And what's your favorite coffee? And what do you like to do for fun? And you just started asking all these questions. And of course, I love that. I was like, oh my God, she really wants to get to know me. I feel like I'm being seen here. So it was just like opening Pandora's box to my heart, which I freaking loved.
Well, you were such a high communicator, and so was I. So with me asking you questions and you asking me, she was bang on. We meshed right off the bat.
She was spot on.
Yes.
Spot on. So my story's, I think, a little bit funnier because I would see you at church and I knew you as the pastor's daughter, but I also knew you as the girl who dated my ex-husband.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, this girl done dated my well, he was my husband at the time, but my ex, she done dated my husband. And then you were always very like quiet at the church. So you would just like kind of like present and like sit down very politely and this and that. And so you like have a very, put together personality. I'm like, hey girl, like let's have a party up in here. And so,
always.
Your mom was, I remember her, and I remember to this day, we were riding back. We went on a girls' trip, and we were riding back together, and she said, Erica, I think it's very important that you have a very close friend that you can share with. And I remember thinking in my mind, but you're my close friend, Miss Brenda. I just love spending time with your mom. And she goes, I think you need a good girlfriend. And she said, Ginger is in the same boat as you. And I think the both of you are feeling a bit lonely. And I think you both could use a friend. And she said, I just think that you and Ginger would make the best of friends. And I was just thinking, I don't know. We're so different. Like, would we? We're so different. Yes. So I remember just talking on the phone with you. And I remember you really did, you initiated things and just started asking those questions, and my heart just blossomed. And I think you're exactly right. I think we're both really high communicators, and it makes things very easy for you and I to go back and forth and share. And I think it's like, cause like when you're not with a high communicator and you're like having to drag it out, like with men, it's like, really like
exhausting.
This is so tiring. Like, come on, keep up. Come on.
Yes.
We're going places. Come on. So it was just, it made me really come alive. And then I just remember like you bringing me into your family. You lived a couple hours away, but you would invite me to your girls' birthday parties. And I just really felt like I was part of your world by you inviting me to those parties.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I remember vividly. I can't believe you came all that way.
I know, it was everything. It was just like, I was like my best friend, and these are her children, and these are the most important people to her. So they become very important to me as well.
I think we were both like devoted to getting to know each other. And it's like right off the bat, we just decided she is going to be my best friend. Like, I need to be close to her because we both had somebody in common that said, y'all would make a good connection.
Yeah.
I think the loneliness was there enough that we both needed it too.
Totally. That's the interesting thing about pain, is it kind of like kicks you in the butt to get some intimacy going. But that's such a beautiful word that you just said, devotion. It makes me very emotional.
Oh.
It's true. We are very devoted to each other.
That is true. And it came so quickly.
Yeah.
Don't cry. I can't wipe your tears on here.
It's true. We're very, no matter what, you and I, like always, we're ride or die chicks. We always have each other's back.
Absolutely.
So we would see each other, and then I went through my divorce, and I didn't tell you. This was our first, I guess, kind of falling out. Yeah, our first fight. Yes. I was going through divorce, and I didn't tell you. And everybody else knew that I was going through a divorce. Your parents knew because, they were pastors. Everybody knew. Well, not everybody. I did keep it a bit quiet. but a lot of people knew, but my best friend in the whole world had no idea. And I remember you were crushed. Do you remember this?
Oh my goodness. Yes, absolutely. And I was in such an odd situation because you were so hurt going through the divorce, and you were going through so much trauma and trying to get through it and pushing yourself to move forward and do something different. And you had so much going on in your life. And I felt so hurt that I didn't know what was going on in your life, that I just wanted to go. I remember talking to you on the phone and saying, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me this? I don't understand. And you were like, I don't need this right now. I am going through hell and back right now. I don't need you griping me out for this. And I just remembered feeling like I can't let myself be upset. I need to be there for her. But I was heartbroken at the same time.
Sure.
You know, such a roller coaster of emotion at that time.
I'll never forget that, because I can tell you, I was in my Chevy Tahoe, and I had my whole life packed in this car, and I was parked outside of Coggin Park, looking at the park. That was like my safe place where I would always go. And I'm sitting there with all my shit packed in this car,
Everything.
having this conversation with you, and just like, and it was true, but you would later learn, and I guess this is like kind of teaching and sharing at the same time, but what kept me, I'm sure people watching this going, why would she not tell her best friend? But I had so much shame, because you had such a healthy, you know, marriage. You guys communicated well. And I just felt like my world was so effed up and your world was so perfect that I was like, I just had nothing but just shame. And it was like the last thing I wanted to do was share with my best friend that my world was falling apart when her world was so perfect. I just remember feeling immensely shameful about it.
Well, and that's understandable, because you had come to me many times about what you were feeling in your marriage, and all the mindset that I was in is, how do I help her? How do I help make it better? How do I help her put this marriage back together? What can I do? What advice can I give? And so the whole time you were going through all of this, working up to finally leaving and making that choice, you had been coming to me saying, how do I fix it? How do I fix it? And it was probably, yes, I can see shame by going, I can't fix it anymore.
Yeah.
And I can see you not wanting to come to me and saying that, because I was the fix-it person.
Yeah. You know, looking back, it was definitely, it was a bit of, I have regret. I regret that, because I remember going through my divorce, which was, I would say to this day, the most difficult decision I have ever made in my life was, ending that marriage. That was like, to me, divorce is, it's not an easy, light thing. It's a death. Mm-hmm. And I remember, just because I felt so much shame, one, I, was part of a very strong Christian environment, which was, I was hearing from people, from family members, you don't divorce. We do not divorce. And I'm like, screw you all. I'm about to divorce, because I cannot live my life like this. I'm going to give myself a second chance. Mm-hmm. And I just remember feeling so alone in that and so isolated. And I packed up my stuff. I moved to Columbus, Ohio. And I remember just feeling so lonely. And the sad thing was, Ginger, was I didn't have to do that alone. Right. That was a choice that I made, and that choice cost me. That choice hurt me every day that I did that journey alone. And I never had to do that alone. You were there the whole time, and I never just let you in, because I was so shameful and I felt like such a bad person that I was just like, I can't let you in.
Right. I can see that. I obviously don't want you to go through anything alone, but looking back on it, as crazy as this sounds, I think it was also good for me to see you can only push someone so hard to do something that you want them to do, and then they just run. And the last thing I wanted to do is lose you in that. And it made me realize Erica has to make her decisions. I have to love her through it and be there for her along the way, and not just push what I think that she should do on her, because you're just gonna, I can't do it anymore. And I think it came to that, is you just feeling like, I can't do this anymore with everybody around you. And so you just ran.
Totally.
And I realized at the time, I am going to completely lose her, especially when we were talking, when you were in the Tahoe at the park. And I was so angry going, Erica, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me? And you were like, I don't need this. I can't do this. You were so overwhelmed at the time that when we hung up from each other, I just realized, I'm going to lose my best friend in this. I have to have compassion for the situation. I have to step back and stop putting my agenda on her. And she needs love right now. More than anything, she needs love, because she's not feeling it from anybody else. That's why she's running.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved off to so I was in Columbus for a year. I don't remember us really talking much during that season. Do you remember that? It was like a whole year, and I really didn't talk to anybody. I just kind of pulled back and did my life in Columbus, did a lot of partying, which was amazing. But dated lots of beautiful men. Wonderful. It was fantastic. How are you boys doing? No, it was.
Shout out.
Hey. I still remember you boys. Still see you on my Facebook.
Oh my gosh.
And then I moved to Los Angeles, and yeah, I'm just trying. When did our relationship pick back up? Do you remember?
Gosh. It was after you moved to LA, and I don't know, somehow in between there, you would call here and there, and I would call here and there just to check up on each other, like, how are things going? But it was very light conversation. How's the weather there? How are you doing? What are you up to? Where are you working? I mean, just very surface level, and we kept it there for a while.
For a very long time, which is so crazy, because here you and I created this relationship out of one need, because we were lonely, and then just utter devotion right off the bat, and then and just high communication, and then we just had a period where we were both pretty aloof, surface. We were very we just wanted, are you alive, are you okay, and I love you.
I want to check on you.
I want to check on you. Are you okay? And because you're the more like stable one of our friendship, I always knew like Ginger's okay. Really, those conversations were, Erica, where are you living, and are you okay?
Are you okay? You still alive?
And then I think in LA, I think I remember telling you about doing a lot of partying in LA as well, maybe.
Yes, I was very worried about you.
Because I was partying a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to push you in any way. I was very, I was very much a listener.
Yeah.
Just listen. And I think that also put our relationship at a very surface level thing, because I didn't want to tell you, you had such a high standard for my relationships and my lifestyle and everything, that I felt like I was a little bit on a pedestal. So I didn't want to tell you anything that was going on with me, because I didn't want you to feel like I can't trust her anymore. I felt a little bit like there was a little bit of shame there, and I need to keep up this persona.
What do you mean by that? High standards in relationships?
Just feeling like I was doing so much right in your mind along the way, and you had come to me for counsel, and you had come to me for, we had talked about things, but I never kind of got to the place where I was, I would share about my kids or something like that. That was a safe thing to share.
Yeah.
But when it came to my heart and what I was feeling, something really deep that would bring me down off of that perfect lifestyle persona that I was putting on. I just didn't want to go there with you because I didn't want to disappoint. I didn't want to fall off the pedestal.
Yeah. But for me, it was like that perfectionism made you intangible. It was like you were untouchable. Like I couldn't connect with you because it was like, she's so perfect. And I am like in my old community's eyes, this big F up who's like, in the wilderness, there goes that Jezebel out in the wilderness, and I'm like, okay. And it was just like these two different paradigms. And it was like, I can't connect with you because you're so perfect. And it's very obvious I am not perfect.
It was such an odd dynamic because, yes, you were doing all of this partying and I was trying to keep up the perfectionism. And so I couldn't communicate with you and you couldn't communicate with me. And we didn't even know that there was a block there. It's like we couldn't even figure out how to get back to each other at that point because we were both just didn't feel like we could talk to each other.
Right.
Not be vulnerable with each other.
Right. And then I came out to see, so I finally, after all of my running and just being angry with a lot of people and feeling hurt by the divorce and feeling betrayed, I finally hit rock bottom and came out and spent a weekend with your family and you. I think I stood at your parents' house and spent time with you. And I think that started opening us up a little bit more there.
And we had barbecue sandwiches and went out to the stream and watched the water. And do you remember it was burning hot outside and we went and got barbecue sandwiches and went and sat by the water and just had like closeness time. And I remember that was the first time that you and I really connected back to each other. Like, I missed this. And you were like, I miss this too. And our hearts connected again.
And I remember going to your girls' soccer game. I just saw those pictures. I was going through pictures and they're so little now, like Camdyn driving and it's just crazy. But yeah. And so we started there. It was like you and I, when we got together, we would have like intense intimacy and then it would become aloof again and it'd become surface again.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got into another relationship and then you and I had a big falling out. And I just, my own insecurities and things started popping up and we just done. And I think you were devastated.
I was devastated. Absolutely. And I think I said things and you said things that that we both knew would hit home because we knew each other well. Yeah. And I just hate even thinking about it because I felt so much loss at that time. I was devastated.
You were devastated.
And I know you were too.
I wasn't initially. I was so angry, not at you, but at my current situation in that relationship. I was just so much anger there and it just came out on you. You know, they say you hurt the people that you love the most. And it was like, I was so angry and frustrated in that. And it was like, there you were. And it was just like, you're going to get all this. You're like, bitch. No, you didn't.
And it's so funny because when you're in it at the time, you don't realize that it's pressure buildup. You just think, what happened to us, you know?
And I'll never forget, I had moved again to Redding, California, and I was in my bathroom, and I think I even remember being on the bathroom floor, and I was crying my eyes out. And I was like, Ginger, I cannot lose you. You are the most important person in my life. I cannot. Do you remember this conversation? It was so intimate.
It was so intimate. I have actually told this story many times to, oh my goodness. I remember having the conversation with you about our blow up. I remember you called, I think because I don't even remember you being on a bathroom floor crying, or I don't remember that, but I just remember you calling and us trying to figure out what had happened. And yes, I was completely devastated. And I remember telling you why I was so hurt, and your response by me telling you, I remember boo-hoo crying, and I remember you boo-hoo crying. And I remember telling you why I was so hurt and what words that you said to me that devastated me. And, oh man. And I remember you yelling into the phone while you were crying. You started yelling, I'm sorry. Forgive me. My dearest friend, forgive me. I'm sorry. Do you hear me? I speak to your heart right now. I'm speaking to your heart. I'm speaking to your hurt. I'm speaking to your devastation. Forgive. Please forgive what I have said. I retract my words. And I just, everything inside of me needed to hear that from you. I needed to hear not just an apology, but from the depths of your being, I need you back in my life. I can't live with me providing hurt to you. And I tell you what, it just, I'm not even doing it justice. I remember you yelling over and over and over. It was so intense, literally yelling, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, forgive, find forgiveness within yourself for me. And I've just never had anybody attack me with graciousness, attack me with sorrow, but it did something to me. It was like every hurt that I have, every thought that I had about, I just have to let this go, or any bitterness that I was hanging on to, it was like it didn't matter anymore. We just started a clean, fresh slate. And I apologized to you for saying what I said that was hurtful. And it completely bashed and crumbled the hurt inside of me. Just you being so sincere at the time and just speaking to that hurt.
It was like you needed to hear from that place that deeply loves you, like, apologize to me from that place.
Yes.
You love me so much, apologize from there.
Yes, I have never been apologized to like that. It shocked me so much that I just sobbed and sobbed because I was so shocked by it. Nobody humbles themselves to that place. And I think that's what was so different about it, is you completely humbled, all pride set aside, nothing else mattered but whatever it takes to get you back.
Yeah. It was like, that's my girl. I am not losing my girl. This is not happening. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
And I knew at that point, it's time to start over. And we even talked about that. It's time to start over. It's time to start fresh. Yeah. We're not starting over in our friendship. We're starting a clean slate, and we're not going to hold on to that hurt anymore.
Right. And then do you remember where did we go from there?
We started communicating more over the phone after that. Okay. I think we just started calling each other more and checking on, and just kind of starting to spend a little bit more time with each other. Yeah. It didn't get really, really deep for a long time. but we just started making sure each other knew I care about you and I don't want to lose you.
Yeah. I'm here no matter what. I'm here even if we don't speak all the time. I'm here.
Yes.
So then I had a devastating thing happen in my life, and then I got to see you a little bit more because I was living in LA. I was always living in California, but then Sarah, my sister's accident happened. She got hit by the drunk driver, and then my mom said, I can't do this anymore. You have to come back, like, please come back home. And so I moved back to Texas, and I was in Texas for a year and a half, and I got to see you more there. And it's like every time we got together, it was just so beautiful and so intimate and so sincere and so fun and so lighthearted. And just, it's like two best friends, two sisters just coming together. And it's just like magical. It's like Disney. It's just like amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes, absolutely.
And explain to people why coffee time is so important to us.
Oh, coffee time is the time where we can sit down, not care what we look like, in our pajamas with a warm cup, and sit really close to each other and have intimate conversation about anything and everything. And I think just the closeness, and again, we're high communicators, and I think just being able to share and sit and take the time for each other. Very much a quality time person, and so are you.
Yes.
And so it filled me up when we would sit down and spend quality time with each other. And that's what coffee time's all about.
Yeah, it's everything. Absolutely everything.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, this is where I always brag on you as a parent. Like I'm just saying this, like, I don't have children, so I'm in no position to talk, but Ginger does have children. And I always tell people, I'm like, that girl is the best mom on the planet. Cause like you see kids like going crazy and screaming, I'm going, no. Not my best friend's children. I remember having coffee time, and the girls had to be like, I don't know, 5. I don't know how. I mean, from little to on, like all of their life, like the girls just knew that coffee time was sacred. And I remember the girls coming out, and they were little, and they were like, Mama, and you said, Camdyn, Trinity, Mommy and Miss Erica are having coffee time right now. Please do not interrupt us. Now I'm going to turn around and go back to your bedroom. And they would go, okay, Mommy. And they'd turn around and walk off. And you'd say either to Camdyn or Trinity, Camdyn, Trinity, yes, Mommy. Mommy loves you. Okay, love you too, Mommy. And I'm like, boom, parenting 101. That's how it's done.
Oh my goodness, Erica.
It was crazy. So every time I see like crazy kids, I'm like, my best friend's children don't act like that. No.
You're like, coffee time. Why does that not work on you?
Your children. No, it was amazing.
Oh.
You.
Hi.
You're going to be on YouTube.
Oh, yay. Let me just like get out of it then.
You can come back. We were just talking about you.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
When you were little.
When you were a little girl. And now it's crazy because you're driving, and I just still don't understand this.
I've been driving for a year now.
I know, you're so big, girlfriend.
Well, I just got home. I'm going to go change.
Okay. Love you.
Bye, Miss Erica.
Bye, baby girl. Who loves you, girl? So fast forward, our relationship, it would be beautiful and explosive when we were together. And then when we were apart, it would go right back kind of to the surface. Would you say that's fair?
Definite.
Okay. And then, but yeah, we would still, stay in contact and say, I love you, I'm here. And then you gave me one of the best gifts, and you came out to stay with me in Los Angeles. And
yes,
oh my God, that was like one of the best gifts ever, was having you come out here. I was
looking so forward to it.
Oh my God, it was everything to me.
Mm.
And I remember having a conversation with Jeff, and I said, Jeff, I said, I'm going to have a conversation with Ginger. And he's like, okay, about what? And I said, I just want more vulnerability in our relationship. I just feel like when we're not together, it's very aloof. It's very surface, and it's killing my heart. Like, I want our relationship has such a capacity to go so much deeper. And my heart is like, it's aching for that. And so we were sitting on the couch, and I just said to you, I said, we went out and played. We went to Malibu. We had fun. And then I just said, Ginger, I just need more vulnerability from you. I just feel like our relationship needs that. And my heart really needs that. Do you remember that? Was that awkward for you?
You know what? Honestly, I think it came at such a good time because I was already feeling that from you. Because you had told me over the phone several weeks earlier than that. I remember you saying, you're such a good listener. But I'm a good listener too. And I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. And so you had kind of hinted to that before. And I was going through a time in my life where I needed to vent.
Yeah.
And I didn't have anybody to vent to about some things I was feeling and things going on. And I had kept up such a good girl, everything is perfect persona for so long with literally everybody that going to California, I think I knew at some point deep down, and I don't even really know how, maybe it was just good timing. I knew deep down something's got to give. Like, I have to spill my guts to somebody because I can't continue this. And so when we're sitting on the couch having our coffee time and you told me that, it was, you opened the door for me to, I remember just starting to cry and saying, I need that more than anything. I need to be able to tell you everything wrong with me, and I just need you to love me back. Do you remember that?
Yes. Which I'm like, this is what I've wanted in our whole relationship. I'm
like, do you still love me?
I'm ready for this. Bring it. I'm ready for this. Bring me your heart.
Oh my gosh. And you know what? I have never felt so vulnerable in my entire life. I mean, just completely letting my hair down. And some people may hear that and think, how simple. But I don't know. I just had this mentality of, I call it a candy shell. I just had a candy shell. Like, I look smooth and clean and colorful and happy and all is well. And nobody needs to know anything more than that. And I just decided, I can't be that with you. You're my best friend. I have to be me to somebody.
Yeah. And to me, that's what makes you more lovable. It makes you more tangible. Like, I can touch you, is like all of those places. Like, yes, the strong friend that's always going to be there, and the friend who always has wise counsel for me, and the good listener, but also the friend. I mean, nothing means more to me of when you call me and you're crying and you go, I need you right now. And it's like, the whole world just stops. And I'm like, nope, everything stops. And it's like, to me, every aspect of your heart, the strong aspects, the broken aspects, the hurt aspects, the angry aspects, the frustrated aspects, like every aspect of your heart to me is beautiful. It's all beauty. And so it's like every time you give me access to that, it's another part of your beauty I get to see, and I get to love on, and I get to experience.
And I remember that day spilling my guts to you and feeling like I just feeling shame and completely as vulnerable as I could be. And I don't know how you did it, but you didn't offer up a whole bunch of advice. You didn't give me all of this stuff to take and run with and self-motivating. And you let me talk, and you listened, and you pulled me closer. And when I was crying, you just stopped and you understood. I remember you wrapping your arms around me and crying with me. And all I could think was, and you still love me? And you just held me and said, it's okay. I hear you. I love you. And you didn't have to say anything else. I was completely broken, and I had myself completely out there, and I wasn't looking for all of this advice. I just needed to tell somebody, and you loved me anyway.
Yeah. To me, it was our relationship has never been the same since then.
Absolutely not. It rocked my world for the better, because I think it changed everything. Now when we talk, it is not surface level, and that doesn't mean we don't have any fun together. Right. We have fun all the time. Yeah. But I can call you and we can kind of pick up where we left off always.
Yeah. Yeah. And what really saves our relationship is the voice messaging thing on iPhone. To me, that keeps our relationship really going, because it's like, you have you have your children and you have a very busy world. And so it's not always that you and I can just jump on the phone. And when we get talking, we talk forever, and you're like, Erica, okay, I love you, honey. I gotta go. I'm like, but no, I want to share more of my heart with you. More of my but the voice memo is just such a great way for you and I to stay connected, hear each other's voices, laugh, cry, go, oh my God, this sucks. Or like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did this. Or, oh my God, I just had the world kick me in the face. Like,
yes,
we have that no matter what. And so that's really been a saving grace for us.
Absolutely. Because it's so quick. You can pick up the phone, leave a voice memo and say, okay, I know I've done this to you. Okay, Erica, I'm walking into a meeting. I'm super nervous. Pray for me and think about me. And I need you to give me a little bit of confidence, just a little bit of confidence before I walk in, and sure enough, you're on the, 1 minute later, I know that you can do this, Ginger. You have it in you. I'm like, okay, let's go. But it's just so fast and easy. Yeah. If you have a down day, you say it, we can hear each other's voices. And then if you want to keep it, you can keep it and save it and listen to it later. It does. It makes our relationship work, because you can listen to it when you have a second.
Totally. And I have to say too, with the vulnerability, ever since that moment, because there is like, when I don't know if you feel this way, but when vulnerability is like one-sided, like maybe now that you're being more vulnerable in your life, like I don't know if you have other relationships, which, I get very jealous if she has other girlfriends. I'm like, you're going out to coffee with who? Who is this girl? Let me come down to Texas and let me show her what's up.
That is so true. I went to McAllister's the other day and posted a picture of me and my friend at lunch, and I get a text right away. Who are you with?
Who is this girl? Who is she about? What's going on? But do you find like being more vulnerable, like if it's just one-sided with other people, it like starts feeling unsafe? Like, I don't want to play anymore.
Absolutely. And you were so good about being vulnerable with me. I feel like in our relationship, I was the one that was the holdup, like the stopping point. And I thought I was doing so good because I was such a good listening ear. But it doesn't work when it's only one person. No. Even though there's two of you and one of you is a good listener and one of you is the one being vulnerable, it's something still stops there. It has to be two people.
Totally. And that conversation has set that, it's like, I think most people are just afraid to have that conversation of saying something's not working and addressing that. But I have to say those conversations have to be had because we had that conversation. Now you and I have had so many raw conversations between each other.
Yes.
That Jesus, I mean, we have been each other's lifelines on
Yes.
so many occasions. And this is the one thing I do want to say that I want people to know about you. You know, I give people advice for a living, but no one is an island and everyone needs someone to turn to. And you are that person that I turn to so many times. And I'll never forget, Sarah, my sister, was going in the hospital a lot. And I was having tons of anxiety. I was having panic attacks. I was just feeling beside myself. And I'll never forget reaching out to you, and I called you and I just said, Ginger, my world's falling apart. And I know Jeff was just like feeling so helpless. He's like, I don't know what to say to you. I don't know how to help you. And I called you and I said, Ginger, it's just breaking my heart. It's killing me. What's happening to my sister? It is killing me. And you said to me, you said, Erica, this just sucks. It just sucks. And I just cried and cried and cried and cried. And it was like hearing you say that, I needed those simple words. It just sucks. And you're always my sounding board of wisdom. I can always call you and you always give such profound advice that it just blows me away, your gift of wisdom. But in that moment, I didn't need wisdom. I just needed to know that my situation really sucked and it hurt and that I didn't have to be alone. And it was like us having that conversation afar back, like I wanted to share that very fragile part of my heart with you because I knew I could trust you. I knew I could give that to you because something about the reciprocation of vulnerability made it very safe for me to come to you with like, okay, I am a million pieces right now. And I actually feel safe showing you this very shattered part of my life right now. And you were insanely gracious and loving and wise and patient and supportive.
Thank you. I remember that day clearly, and I remember you crying so hard, and after that conversation, you saying, thank you for not saying it's going to be okay. And you said so many people don't know what to say, so they just say, it's going to be okay. And you said, it's just the last thing I want to hear. I just want somebody to relate to me, somebody to listen. And I didn't even know I had done anything right. But too, I was so grateful the day that you opened the door. And it took one of us in our relationship to say, you are not being vulnerable with me. I need more from you. And I'm so grateful that you opened that door for me because I needed it more than I knew that I did. I knew that I had some stuff bottled up that I needed to get out. But you were the one that opened that door and said, this isn't enough. I need more from you. And that took a lot of guts. Just stepping out and doing that.
Part of me felt like I was like, it felt very risky because I was like, I could lose my friendship because I knew for you that looking and being perfect was very important to you. I mean, you kind of, in some regards, had built your life around that. And for me to go, that is crushing me and I can't connect with you. It's hurting me. I was like, I could be forfeiting my relationship here. It felt very scary, very scary.
It's so backwards because in my mind, I thought, this is what everybody likes. Everybody likes to see me put together. Why do you want something different out of me? But I needed it so bad. Just thank God I had you in my life.
We always say to each other, we are so lucky to have each other. We are
Yes.
so lucky, because I think the beauty of our relationship is we're both, and we both give so much, and sometimes it's lopsided. Sometimes one of us needs more than the other, but we're not like taking a tally like, oh, I was there for. It's just, we know that the ebb and flow of life is not, it's like this. And so I love that no matter what, I think you said the most beautiful thing, that we are devoted to one another. And out of that devotion, it doesn't matter who's going through what or who needs more of what. It doesn't matter. We're just devoted to one another. And I really feel like our relationship, we are super lucky to have this, but it's required courage and humility and vulnerability and brokenness and just honesty and lots of love.
Yes. Yes.
I love you.
I love you too. Thank you for doing this with me.
Thank you for sharing. And just to throw something a little lighthearted in this, I have to say that to this day, one of my best birthdays, still to this day,
Oh no.
my doorbell rang, and you and your mother came dressed in all black mask on, like this, acting like Catwoman, and I almost peed my pants. It was
That's because Catwoman came out in the theaters, and we wanted to take you to see it.
Yes. And it didn't stop there. So then you're like, Erica, we baked you this cake. And I was like, oh, amazing. This was before I was gluten-free. Yay, a cake. And I love cakes and I love sugar. And so I go and I take it, and I'm like, and your mom's like, well, Erica, we want a slice before we go to the movie. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'll share my cake with you. And, and then I take the knife and I'm like trying to be polite and talk to you guys. And I'm like, oh my God, they burnt this cake. They burnt this cake so bad, I cannot even put my knife through this. And I'm just trying to engage and keep conversation going and smiling, just thinking, I don't want to embarrass them, but they fried this cake. And finally I was like, and you guys were just sitting there going, you're snickering. And I'm like, oh my God. And I go, and I took the knife and I went, it was a baking pan that you guys turned upside down and you put icing all over it. There was no cake. It was a pan with icing.
Covered with icing.
I know, you've been in the dark.